I remember I used to think that dual wield sucked because you wanted the armor from the shield, but the meta has changed a lot. I think the action speed is more valuable than the armor from the shield. There's so much armor pen and stuff anyway. I think that guy was really geared. Oh, wow. Hey guys, how's it going? Firebox here. I want to share with you my Demon's Glee fighter build that I used to make about 50,000 gold, probably a little bit more than that, over the course of an hour playing Demon's Glee fighter. I think this is one of the strongest builds in solos as far as fighter is concerned, and whenever I play this class, I have a really hard time not using it. In the early wipe, I use the Rondel Dagger because the Demon's Glee doesn't exist yet. Once this craftable is open, it really does open up fighter to this absolutely crazy build. So let's go ahead and go over my skills, my perks, and go over a little bit about the build, and then I'll show you some more of the PvP. For my perks, I'm running Dual Wield, Sword Mastery, Swift, and Weapon Mastery. Weapon Mastery is a required perk because Demon's Glee is not usable by fighter otherwise. As far as Dual Wield and Sword Mastery goes, Dual Wield works because the Mana Sphere does count as a weapon, so not only do you get the benefits of the Mana Sphere, which includes weapon damage and true magic damage, but you also get 10% action speed, which is really, really solid. And of course, the Demon's Glee does count as a sword, which triggers Sword Mastery, giving you an extra 2 damage and 5% action speed, which means by default, you're getting 15% action speed for free just using these two weapons, which is absolutely ridiculous. For the skills, I'm going to be running Breakthrough and Sprint. Now, some of the notable mentions of what you might want to consider instead include Adrenaline Rush and Second Wind. Second Wind is kind of one of those obvious choices because 40% HP is a lot, especially when you factor in your total PDR that you have as a fighter. But that said, I find the one-time use ability not really as flexible in solos. I really don't like having to sit down and campfire. So I personally prefer to use other skills that do not require having to sit down and rest. Adrenaline Rush is really good too. 50% action speed and 5% movement speed is a very decent buff. But I'm really starting to levitate towards Breakthrough. This is good against Rangers with Forceful Shot, Wizard Fireball, Sorcerer Knockback, Barbarian Achilles Strike, Barbarian Weapon Hit / Francisca Axe slows, Rogue Throwing Knife slows. It's just really, really good. I love having the ignoring all movement speed debuff effects. I find it to be one of my favorite skills in sprints because you really do want the movement speed. So between sprint and breakthrough, you're getting 52 speed with no movement speed penalty, which is very nice and is going to allow you to close the gap on other players pretty well. For the gear, of course, I am going to be running the Demon's Glee. Keep in mind, the weapon damage max for Demon's Glee is 29. Technically, this is not the ideal one. This was just one I had around in my stash. So make sure you buy a 29 damage version. And Mana Sphere, make sure you buy the 2 true magic damage Mana Sphere as well. I noticed some people accidentally buy the wrong Mana Sphere. As you'll see here, for example, this is 1 true magic damage instead of 2 true magic damage, which is a very, very big deal. So just kind of something to keep in mind for yourself. When you are looking and searching up Mana Spheres, please make sure you buy the correct one that has the correct true magic damage, because you don't want to miss out on half damage for no reason other than you just forgot to check. I am going to be using a survival bow for this build. This is because I really enjoy the fast fire rate compared to the recurve bow and longbow. Also, it does scale very well with true physical damage. Now, this is something I do want to briefly touch on really fast as well. There are 2 different variants of this build. One is going to be a little bit on the more budget side, and the other is going to be more expensive. True magic damage in general is going to be cheaper than true physical damage. I think the reason is that there are significantly more players playing with true fizz, for example, rogues, than there are using true magic damage. So in general, your gear is going to be more expensive. So if you're kind of on a budget and you're struggling to make this build with true fizz, feel free to sub in true magic. The downside is that Demon's Glee is still going to benefit from full true magic damage. So you're going to be fine for melee, but your survival bow will not. So unfortunately, with true magic damage, you're going to lose out on a lot of damage here. So it's kind of give and take. It's more budget friendly-ish. Keep in mind the Demon's Glee is pretty expensive, but again, I'd really recommend probably going for True Fizz if at all possible. I think Crusader Helm is a pretty nice piece. Strength and Vigor just feel like nice solid stats. Try to make sure you grab true magic damage on your hat. It's just extra stats. There's no reason not to grab it. Dark Cuirass is kind of nice. Originally I was using the Fine Cuirass instead, but I kind of like having the extra magic resistance. Someone recommended that to me. You also get more movement speed. So all in all, it just kind of feels nice to have. Plate Pants are kind of nice. Gives you a decent bit of armor. And Strength Vigor is just good stats for this build. And I try to grab max health and armor rating if possible on these. For the gloves, I'm running heavy gauntlets. Dexterity and Vigor are just really nice stats. I would recommend True Fizz and max health if you can grab it. Probably the two best stats possible. And then probably armor. Agility's nice, anything like that. For the boots, I'm using rugged boots with movement speed and dexterity. Dexterity's nice just to get a little bit of extra action speed. Even though you do get 15% action speed for free with your weapon, it's still nice to get a little bit more outside of that. For the rings, I'm using 2 Grim Smiles with true physical damage. You can also just use Vitality rings with all attribute and true fizz. They're going to be more expensive, so it really is up to you how much you want to spend on your kit. For the necklace, I'm using the Frost Amulet with max health bonus and armor. All attribute is really good for this piece, but it does get pretty pricey, so really this build can be as expensive as you want to make it. For the cloak, I'm using Vigilant with True Fizz action speed. That's probably the best 2 in-slot stats. Number 1, of course, is True Fizz, then action speed second. And I would personally recommend bringing Invis pots with you. These are super underrated. If you catch someone from Invis and pop Sprint and Breakthrough when they're right on top of you from invisibility, you are probably just going to get a free kill, as you're going to see in the PvP. So I would really recommend bringing these. Maybe it feels a little scummy, but I mean, they're in the game, so I think you might as well use them. If you did enjoy this build guide, be sure to like the video, subscribe, helps the channel. Thank you to Pressure for supporting this video alongside my other members. And sit back and relax. Let's go ahead and get into some more of the PvP. Oh, it's only for a log. I'm pretty sure I got some lag there. Pretty sure. Alright, you ready for the cheese? Yeah, you ready? Well, Invis pots for the win. Oh, wow. Is that the rogue? Turning off every light in the game? I feel like it is. Poor guy got rode. Damn, he's got good gear too. Way too good. Early game to be running. Aw, poor guy was campfiring. You're not allowed to do that in solos. You can't campfire in solos. No fun allowed. Or someone trying to leave at the exit. Oh my god! Bro, it's a horror game! I didn't even have time to press my buttons. Yep. Yeah, decently geared. Good enough to loot him. What? What? Are you serious? Okay, well, I'm never meleeing a druid again.